Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel. The doors are wide open at the new Newman Catholic Center at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, continuing its mission as a home away from home. We'll get a tour from Father Gary Daly.
World Youth Day pilgrims gather for a reunion. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
And the Westfield Catholic Community Churches joined forces in hosting a summer vacation Bible camp. These stories are coming your way next on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel, coming to you from the new Newman Catholic Center at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Almost 3 years to the day since the Diocese of Springfield sold the original Newman Catholic Center, located on the UMass campus, to the university's building authority, the doors to this brand new 20,000 square foot facility were opened, just in time to welcome back students. It's been a long and sometimes uncertain path leading to this historic milestone, one marking a new chapter in the history of campus ministry here at UMass. The roots going back to 1929, when a group of students, inspired by the late Cardinal John Newman, formed a Newman Club, an opportunity where Catholic students, faculty, and staff could engage in spiritual and intellectual growth. In 1963, the diocese purchased land on what was then the outskirts of campus, constructing the first Newman Catholic Center. And for 40 years, it served as a spiritual home away from home for countless university students. At the same time, the campus rapidly expanded, making the center located in a prime location. In recent years, that 1963 facility showed signs of age. Discussions began on how to leverage the center's prime location while ensuring a continued presence on the Amherst campus. Those discussions resulted on August 26, 2020, in the $12.5 million sale of the North Pleasant Street location. As part of the negotiations, the state agreed to provide, under a 99-year lease, land across the street on Thatcher Road for the construction of a new Newman Catholic Center. In order to adequately fund the building of a new center, a national capital campaign resulted in more than $2 million in additional funding. Finally, this past April, Bishop Byrne blessed and consecrated the Our Lady Seat of Wisdom Chapel. At the same time, however, other sections of the new building were still awaiting completion. Then on August 20th, Bishop Byrne returned to celebrate the final Mass at the North Pleasant Street Center's chapel, deconsecrating it at the conclusion of the Mass. He returned August 27th to bless the rest of the new center. And on Monday, August 28th, the new Newman Catholic Center opened for business, continuing a 94-year Catholic presence on the University of Massachusetts campus. Earlier this week, I met Father Gary Daly here for a tour and to learn more of what makes this space so very special to the Catholic campus community. So, Father Gary Daly, it's so nice to be here finally in the completed Newman Center. I bet you're so happy that everything is up and running, and I thought it would be great to start the tour here in the Newman Chapel, which is the heart of the whole center, right?
Right. It is the heart. You know, as the Eucharist is the source and summit of the church, so this is really the source and the summit of everything we do here at Newman. So this is the focal point. And we have nothing but rave reviews of this chapel. The word that everyone uses from bishop to student is when they walk in, they say, wow.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I wanted. It's a combination of so many different parts of our diocese. The stained glass windows, of course, we brought from the Newman Center. And I personally think they look more beautiful in this chapel than they did in the other chapel.
And how many people does this hold?
It's about 320. And the masses on this past, both Sundays, 10:30 Mass. So far, we've had to ask people to move in so that everyone could take a seat.
Wow,
so the chapel's full.
Well, it's a very welcoming chapel and welcoming center, and let's go and see what else we can show people.
Let's go. So we just left the chapel where we feed the soul, and now we come to this place, the cafe, where we feed the body.
So you've got all the bases covered here.
Yeah, it's a dual mission here. And the Newman Cafe is quite historical in the sense because alumni from decades ago would talk about the breakfast at Newman, and it's pretty popular and it's evolved through the years, but we wanted to keep the menu of all-day breakfast. So the cafe's open from 8 to 2, Sunday through Thursday.
And they can study too while they're eating or just hang out. And I know they offer some really good food. It's cooked by the UMass Dining, right?
#1 dining in the country.
Good reason to come here.
Exactly. One of the things that students requested when we were designing the building some years ago was they wanted a more traditional chapel, but they also wanted a place where they could cook. So this is the Newman Student Association room. It's a room where they can come in and utilize whatever they want, whether it's studying or whether it's cooking. So they'll be able to cook here, oven, stove, refrigerator, everything they need to be able to do that.
Another indication of a home away from home.
Correct.
Yeah.
We want to make it as comfortable as we can for them. So here we are on the second floor. We'll go down and see a few of the rooms that we have here. This is the resource center where students can come and study and read. We have 3 study rooms here, all quiet rooms.
The design is so beautiful. It's so welcoming with the books and the nice comfortable chairs. And you have artifacts from the Pope.
Right, so this resource center was donated by Michelle and Donald DeMore. But they didn't want it named after them. They wanted it named after St. John Paul II. And so that's what this area commemorates and celebrates, is the life of St. John Paul II. Welcome to the boardroom. I was sitting here at this table. It's for our development board meetings, but also can be used for Bible studies with the students. We're high-tech in here now because now we be able to have Zoom meetings with the camera and the telephone and the TV. And it's also honoring our directors from Monsignor Power through the ages, through the 60 years.
Well, this is the grand staircase, I guess, huh?
Yes, it is.
And it overlooks the main street and also the...
Correct. In the old Newman Center
Newman
to the
Center.
left. And here's the famous pool table. We have our pool sharks right here. They're going to show you some trick shots. And that pool table goes from morning till night.
Wow.
I'm probably going to have to change the felt on that table, maybe more than once a year. We'll see. This is what we call the Dill Lounge. And students come in here, play pool, play chess, play checkers, study, chat. We'll probably add some furniture and seeing what the use is here. Televisions that will be able to broadcast sports games, and then we move into the Portis Lounge. And this is kind of in a little more intimate area for students, both to study, but also to have like men's nights and women's nights or movie nights. There's a 12-foot screen that comes out of the ceiling and surround sound in this room, so it should be a fantastic evening for movies. It's a nice area, and it looks out to the patio here and over across to the old Newman Center through the windows, so we can remember the old as we sit in the new.
Perfect. Well, it really was a nice tour. Thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
We're so happy for you that you have everything all set, and it was a long haul, wasn't it?
It certainly was, but it's well worth it when you see the students actively involved in both the worship and the social and the study. It's just, and I think the remarkable thing is that since we moved in here, not one student has said we miss the old building. So it's really awesome, and I think it's going to be a great.
Time.
It was time. It was time for sure.
And we look forward to more in the future, definitely.
Very good. Look forward to having you come back.
Thanks. World Youth Day took place in early August in Portugal, and our young diocesan pilgrims who traveled there are staying in touch still after having encountered Jesus with millions from around the world. They recently had a reunion. Carolee McGrath documents some of those special moments of the pilgrimage, which will serve as momentum for future evangelization efforts.
It's not every day that you see thousands, actually millions of young people loud and proud about their Catholic faith. And yet this is a glimpse of the absolute joy of World Youth Day.
This is my first World Youth Day. I'm very excited. I'm just eager, ready.
Rob Carmichael, a parishioner at St. Michael's Cathedral Parish in Springfield, was one of 17 young adults from the diocese who traveled to Portugal in early August for World Youth Day. World Youth Day is a pilgrimage for young people ages 15 to 35 years old. It's held every 4 years, and more than 200 countries were represented. Pope Francis joined the young people and celebrated the closing Mass.
The whole weather in Portugal is between 90 and 100 degrees every day, which, believe it or not, is my kind of weather. I got really tanned, but aside from that, we had a really beautiful experience, and all in all, I personally really felt as though God was with us the whole time. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now at the hour of our death.
Father David Offero, pastor of Holy Family Parish in South Deerfield, accompanied the local group. As a mother of young adult children, to see all of those young adults there loving the Lord gives me hope. What do you think?
I think it actually gives me hope as well. When you have 1.5 million people at World Youth Day, there was a lot of moments we had a lot of spontaneous joy. Like, for example, as a priest, I was willing to go back to my hotel room after an event, but then there was a whole group of people dancing and clapping in the street and playing music, and I just couldn't help to be a part of that. And so that joy is very contagious, and they were really spreading sort of the joy of the gospel.
The local contingent began their pilgrimage in Fatima, where the Blessed Mother appeared to 3 shepherd children from May to October of 1917. The Blessed Mother told the children to pray the rosary daily for peace and to offer up their suffering for the conversion of souls.
And it was incredible to see so many people my age from anywhere in the world that were willing to pray the rosary at any point in time.
24-year-old Rebecca Navarez from Blessed Sacrament Parish in Springfield is a graduate of Franciscan University.
When he died on the cross for us, he had every single person in mind. And so even those that may feel that, he wasn't thinking of them, he really was. He carried all of their sin, all of their burdens on his back when he was crucified.
Many in the group met recently for a reunion back home at Immaculate Conception Parish in Indian Orchard. Father David celebrated Mass, and then the group shared a meal and some of their experiences. 19-year-old Amelia Schwing is a youth group leader at Immaculate Conception and a nursing student at Elms College in Chicopee.
I absolutely loved it. It was a great experience, definitely very eye-opening, I like to say that we had a lot of time to do adoration. It was very just calming and at peace and definitely connected with God.
World Youth Day is just one of the many opportunities available for our young people to grow closer to Christ. Under the direction of Joe Austin, both young adult ministry and youth ministry have taken off in our diocese, with both young adults and teens realizing that Jesus has way more to offer than the secular world.
Everyone who goes on World Youth Day has an incredible experience of the whole church, and they come back just on fire and ready to, do a lot and give themselves to the church. And so I think a number of the people who went on the trip may be future young Catholic leaders and involved in Young Catholic, and Young Catholic is really growing. We're is working on some new initiatives right now that will be amazing as well. The Young Catholic equivalent for the youth, we now have a diocesan youth leadership team.
The Diocesan Youth Leadership Team recently held a swing dance for youth. Like Young and Catholic, the group has many activities planned for the fall.
They are on fire. They are so on fire, and I just can't keep up with what the Holy Spirit is doing with everything.
Follow both groups on Instagram, Young and Catholic for the young adults or Catholic Youth Revival for the teens. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And the next World Youth Day is scheduled to take place in Seoul, South Korea in 2027. And still to come on Reel to Reel, Dan Dumas will have the latest news briefs from the Diocese of Springfield. And as we mark the final days of summer, the Westfield Catholic Community Churches join forces in hosting a summer vacation Bible camp. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio, and stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel News Briefs. Each summer, local peace advocates gather to remember the first time the atomic bomb was used in wartime, nearly 80 years ago. Steve Kiltonick has the story.
Over 50 people gathered in front of Springfield City Hall to remember the 78th anniversary of the atomic bomb, which was dropped on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. About 140,000 died in the Hiroshima bombing, and over 70,000 died in the bombing of Nagasaki 3 days later. The interfaith event was co-sponsored by the Greater Springfield Campaign Nonviolence, Pax Christi, Just Faith Ministries, and Agape Community.
The danger of nuclear weapons has never been greater. The bulletin of the atomic scientists moved their doomsday clock to 90 seconds to midnight about 6 months ago, and that's the closest it's ever been. And we hear threats from the Russian government about the possible use of weapons in their war in Ukraine.
The doomsday clock is a symbol that represents the likelihood of a human-made global catastrophe. The event opened with a dramatic reading of Thomas Merton's long prose poem, Original Child Bomb.
The temperature at the center of the fireball was 100 million degrees. The people who were near the center became nothing.
The keynote address was given by Dr. Ira Helfand, who spoke on the prohibition of nuclear weapons as it relates to House Resolution 77 filed in the U.S. House. The bill, which currently has 37 sponsors, supports the Back from the Brink legislative platform for multilateral nuclear disarmament, which Springfield Bishop William Byrne endorsed last year.
Nuclear weapons are not a force of nature. We control this situation if we choose to. We can get rid of these weapons. We've already dismantled more than 50,000 of them. We know how to do this. All we need is the political will to get our government to sit down with the other 8 countries that have nuclear weapons and all work out the details of a plan to eliminate their nuclear arsenals.
Postcards were handed out showing the likely nuclear targets in Massachusetts, including Westover Air Reserve Base in Chicopee and Barnes Air National Air Base in Westfield. Postcards were also issued asking Massachusetts Senators Markey and Warren to sign a Senate counterpart bill to H.R. 77. Helfand hopes 100 signatures are on the bill before year's end and that the nuclear war issue is placed on the national agenda.
So that in the election campaign of 2024, at all levels, the House, the Senate, the presidency, people need to talk about nuclear policy. And I think when people start talking about the nuclear issue again, they're going to all understand that there is no problem in the world today which is worth blowing up the whole planet over.
Additionally, on the eve of her 100th birthday, Sister Mary Caritas was honored with a proclamation from the Springfield City Council President Jesse Liederman for her involvement in peacemaking efforts over the years.
We just accept this for all the people who work so hard for causes that really make a difference. Thank you all.
In Springfield, I'm Steve Kiltonick.
In other news, St. Stanislaus School in Chicopee was the setting as more than 200 parishioners gathered in late August for an all-day festival dedicated to Our Lady of Czestochowa. The festival included a special mass celebrated by Springfield Bishop William Byrne. Nick Morganelli was there and tells us more.
The Heritage Pops Orchestra from Wilbraham graced the festival with Polish music as Bishop William Byrne celebrated with St. Stanislaus pastor Father Brad Mulinski and other priests, as well as deacons Michael Prey and David Southworth.
This day is a day of celebration, but it's also a day of gratitude. A day of gratitude for the Polish community, but also in a special way for our beloved Franciscan friars. So let's give them a little round of applause.
Jessica Wisniewski grew up in Sunderland, and this brought back childhood memories for her.
So this is beautiful how we're having an outdoor mass today, and we have the polka band, and we're going to have a lot of Polish readings and everything along with the English. So it's beautiful that my children and my husband get to experience this too.
Ty jesteś Mesjaszem, Synem Boga żywego.
There is a national Polish-American shrine for Our Lady of Czestochowa in Pennsylvania, where one learns that church tradition dates this image of Mary back to the time of the 12 apostles, with the possibility of St. Luke as its artist. The image gets its nickname Black Madonna from the soot residue, which discolored the painting as a result of candles burning in front of it for centuries.
She's always pointing to Jesus. So she's saying, don't stop and look just at me, but rather look at my son. Our Blessed Mother is the road, not the destination. We pray to her to bring us to Jesus, her son. She would have it no other way.
Bishop Byrne ended his homily with a charge for those in attendance.
I give a challenge this year. We need to have about 5 times as many people here next year.
After Mass, the orchestra provided more music as the last gift basket raffle tickets were sold. All enjoyed fellowship and food with a full Polish dinner, including pierogies, gołąbki, and many desserts. Celebrating Our Lady at St. Stanislaus in Chicopee for Reel to Reel, I'm Nick Morganelli.
Thanks, Nick. Now to Springfield, where coming up next Sunday, September 24th, Springfield Bishop William Byrne will celebrate a special Mass for all those impacted by addiction. It's part of an ongoing effort to reach out to those struggling with this disease, along with their loved ones.
Addiction is all around us, and it's what I like to say is the silent disease. Families suffer silently because there's a lot of shame and guilt and difficulties in dealing with problems that we have in our families. And we need the support of each other, especially from the Catholic Church. We need to know that Jesus surrounds us with his love and that together we can conquer anything.
Again, the Mass will be held next Sunday at 10 a.m. at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield, and all are invited to attend. And finally, the Knights of Columbus held their first ever car show at St. Cecilia's Parish in Wilbraham. Bishop William Byrne attended the August event, which was held to raise money for the many ministries supported by the Knights. Carolee McGrath has more.
Bless these cars, bless the drivers, bless our first responders here today, and keep us always in your love. We ask this all through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Bishop William Byrne kicked off the St. Cecilia's Knights of Columbus car show at Fountain Park with a blessing. This was the first ever car show held by the Wilbraham Council.
We just thought it was a good idea to do something a little different, and we also wanted to do it for the community too.
Money raised will support the many local charities the Wilbraham Council supports, including the Community Survival Center, the Gray House, Mass Citizens for Life, the St. Cecilia's Youth Group, and the Knights of Columbus Scholarship Fund.
One of our pillars is charity, and this is what it's all about, doing for others.
In addition to the cars on display, there were several booths run by the Knights of Columbus, St. Cecilia's Women's Club, and the Wilbraham Junior Women's Club.
This is our very first car show event that we put on. A lot of talented people came together, thought long and hard. It took several months to put it together also. And, we've been blessed with a great day and a great turnout.
I do like some of these old Corvettes. I don't know if I'd fit in them very well, but they are very cool.
Bishop Byrne made the rounds with Zelly.
The Knights are a wonderful fraternal organization, developing men of faith, but also building community, not just through the good works that they do of helping to feed the hungry and clothe the homeless, defend the unborn, but doing something like this. So we come together and celebrate the hard work of people and the beauty of that can come from great technology and cars itself.
The car show might become an annual tradition. In Wilbraham, I'm Carolee McGrath.
You can read more on these and other stories at iobserve.org, where you can find articles from our Catholic communication staff, as well as on-demand episodes of Reel to Reel. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Reel to Reel news briefs.
Finally, before we say goodbye to summer today, the Catholic community of Westfield came together this summer for an out-of-this-world vacation Bible experience. Campers and volunteers sharing a stellar week of growing closer to God and one another as the faith communities learned there is strength in unity. Kathy Harrington has the story.
Jesus is the one who lights our way.
Mission success for Stellar, the 2023 Vacation Bible Experience at Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament in Westfield.
And it starts the minute they walk in the door. You know, you walk in and you just feel like you're walking through space in the hallway.
Stars brighten the dark skies as campers gather for the final day of this faith-filled adventure. Another turn takes young astronauts on a walk through the space station, where a peek through the portal shows you a heavenly sight.
We opened it up this year especially to the Westfield parishes, and that's been quite successful. We've had volunteers from those parishes as well as campers.
It's been a great week. It's really, the kids have been fantastic, engaged. All of our staff has just been stellar, so to speak. They've just been so enthusiastic and really attentive to the kids.
Blasting off each day with song and dance, encountering Jesus in Bible stories, finding God moments, and meeting a new friend each day.
Wow! I mean, just look at how bright I am.
Cosmo down there, the star, Cosmo reminds us that when people are happy, shine Jesus' light.
Shine Jesus' light. It's the message for a darkened world, and the one that the campers will be taking home this week. The answer always, shine Jesus' light.
I'm Hallie, a comet. The other buddies you've met are things you see all the time, but comets like me are much more rare.
It gets a halo, it's blue, and it explodes.
Lydia, what do you think?
It's inspiring, says Kevin Barrett, the new youth minister at St. Mary Parish in Westfield, who came aboard as a volunteer for the week.
Just to be around this environment, having the kids being involved with singing, dancing, Bible study, imagination station, getting them into the faith, that's the main goal.
For experienced and first-year crew members, this week is one to remember.
And actually, this is one of my favorite VBEs that I've been to in 14 years. Just like we had a lot of really enthusiastic kids who were singing and dancing.
I was really impressed of how much work was put in to all the decorations, all the games here, and all the fun activities that they get to do.
I got to help out and help the kids and stuff. I think it's more memorable to be a crew leader because I get to kind of oversee things and see other kids have the same experiences that I had when I was younger.
As the week drew to a close, the Westfield Food Pantry shelves were filled with donations made by campers as a special tribute in memory of longtime VBE volunteer Andrea Cook Hewitt, who spent years also serving at the Westfield Soup Kitchen. For Reel to Reel, I'm Kathy Harrington.
All right, well, I guess it's goodbye to summer for now and hello to hopefully some cooler, crisp fall air. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thank you so much to Father Gary Daly and everyone here at the new Newman Catholic Center. We're so happy for the students and the staff and everyone involved with this project. It's a beautiful site, and I'm sure will continue to serve as a home away from home for decades to come. And before we go, Bishop William Byrne would like to invite all married couples who are celebrating a special wedding anniversary this year to a special Mass on Sunday, October 15th at 2 p.m. at St. Michael's Cathedral. If you'd like to participate, contact your Catholic parish and they will arrange for an invitation. And to keep up with the latest news on the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world, head over to iobserve.org, where we have it all for you. And we are also on Facebook at Catholic Communications. Now, for our viewers on WWLP TV 22, Reel to Reel will continue to air at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday mornings due to NBC's college football schedule. All others will air at the regularly scheduled time, so join me next Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. for Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.